Welcome to your source for research, innovation, news, insights, and commentary. This is Research Business Daily Report, and we're sponsored today and this week by ForEye, the science of growth. ForEye is going to be conducting a webinar this coming week, and at the webinar you can learn how to become an insight and analytics superstar or rock star. More about it later. Curiosity about the utilization and proving the value of crowdsourcing is growing in more and more areas, and the latest is detailed by the New York Times. Reporter Alexandra Alter wrote about Swoon Reads. It's a division of Macmillan Publishing, and it is empowering fans to vote via crowdsourcing whether to go or no go on publication of manuscripts that have been submitted. Alter said of the idea, which was developed back in 2012, quote, "The publisher is hoping to find potential bestsellers that reflect not just editors' tastes, but the collective wisdom and whims of the crowd," end of quote. Alter's story focused on the first manuscript submitted by Sandy Hall. It was sampled online by 9,000 people, and they rated it for 1 to 5 hearts. Now, though comments from readers were in some cases confusing, the book's overall review was so positive that Swoon is ordering an initial press run of an impressive 100,000 copies. The consumer decision makers are also voting on audiobook narrators, cities to be visited by the author, and the cover of each book. This form of crowdsourcing has an auxiliary element, test of whether writers and publishers can actually build a fan base for a book well before the time that it is published. It is also pushing book publishers to a tact adopted by consumer brand marketers for well over a decade, and that is subjecting the finished product to rigorous market testing before it is finalized and then released. In Britain, HarperCollins has a website where writers can upload their work for evaluation, and so far of 15,000 manuscripts that have been submitted, 15 have actually been published. According to Alter, even some established authors are putting their work out for audience review. One of them is Walter Isaacson, the official biography of Steve Jobs, who posted a chapter of his new book for reader feedback. Moving on, the first woman to serve as chief pollster for a U.S. presidential campaign, Dottie Lynch, died last week at the age of 69. Lynch was also known as one of the first in the trade to take action against a perceived gender gap, and in fact she recognized the benefit of developing campaign themes that were aimed specifically at females. Though she worked on the election efforts of presidential hopeful Jimmy Carter and also Democrats Walter Mondale, George McGovern, Ted Kennedy, and Gary Hart, she was also well known as someone who helped the election interpretation efforts at NBC News and CBS News. And finally, it's only Monday, but when you run into that inevitable bummer of a day, I have something to help you put things into perspective. It's the cover of a greeting card that my wife found and shared with me, and upon seeing it, I immediately thought this is something I've got to share with RBDR in my audience. Like I said, save it and share it for that upcoming day when things just aren't happening as you had hoped. That's your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored by ForEye, the science of growth. ForEye is hosting a webinar this Friday, August the 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Central, where they will reveal the results of their groundbreaking benchmarking study of the insights and analytics functions inside CPG, pharma, and retail companies. We had talked about this in brief in RBDR a couple of weeks ago. At the webinar, you will find out how to turn insights and analytics stragglers into rock stars. You can become one of them. We have a link to get you signed up to this content-filled webinar. It's in the email that went out today to RBDR subscribers. It's also in the content box underneath this particular video. We hope you have a great research day, and we'll see you back here with us tomorrow.